What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Speedy's Garage. A little bit of an exciting day today. We're finally getting out to the track for the first time in 2019. You've been following along. We made a few changes to the car Go Man Go over the winter time, so this is our first real test. If you followed along, you might have seen a while back, and I'll link to the top, that we actually did take it to a dyno. And I'm not big on dyno numbers personally. All the dynos read differently, and they're really just a tuning tool, as I've said before. However, Mike at OSD Dyno, who tunes this car, wanted me to put it on a dyno so that we could take a look at the exhaust. Since he's not here in person, he's been remote tuning this vehicle. He wanted me to get a video camera on the exhaust, and that way we could look at the data log, see if we saw any short-term knock, and then correlate that with any little puffs of smoke that might come out of the exhaust system. So when you get short-term knock, you'll get a puff of smoke at the same time. We could look at the video, review the log, and for some reason this car, and it did it stock, and I've seen it in other Hellcats as well, they all wanted to have just a little bit of short-term knock retard right around 4,000, 4,100 RPM, and in another little spot, it would be like 1 or 2 degrees, and I always speculated that that was probably false knock, and so put it on the dyno, did the video for the exhaust for Mike, sent 3 samples over to him. He emailed back and said, yep, looks like we're getting a little bit of false knock, made a small tweak, nothing major, to the knock sensor window, and a very small change to the knock sensor volts for the threshold. I've talked about that before, where it'll ignore noise below a certain threshold. I've seen some tuners make drastic changes in those areas, and I guess there's more than one way to skin the cat. For this car, he just made very small changes to the knock sensor volts and then a tweak to the knock sensor window, so we think we're good to go there. He also made one other small change I'm not going to share because he might not want me to broadcast it. Should make a little bit more horsepower, and we're going to see how that does at the track. It'll equate probably to some mile an hour on the big end if it works. We've got 2 tunes we're going to test today, and we're going to see which one makes a difference. All of this will be on 93 octane. We're going to dial that in first, and then once we get the 93 octane tunes dialed in, we'll switch over and start kind of turning it up on race gas. Once you put race gas in the car, you can put quite a bit more timing in it and obviously pick up quite a bit more horsepower. So I'm not really going to set any goals today, mainly just test the tunes and get the 93 octane tune dialed in. So when we had it on the dyno, it made about 750 horsepower and about 750 foot-pounds of torque. Unfortunately, the dyno operator kept shutting the car off early. I requested a 6,500 RPM shut-off point, and he was killing it right around 6,100 to 6,200. So with SAE correction, which is usually what you want to look at if you're going to compare dyno sheets across various parts of the country or world, I guess, it made like 752 or something like that, 756, somewhere around there. So we'll call it 750. On standard correction, which is basically what the car actually made right then without any corrective factors factored into that calculation, it made about 780. And again, that was the guy shutting the car off around 61, 6,200. I'm pretty sure the car, if you really want to put a number on it, is right at 800 on 93 octane. But again, a dyno's just a tuning tool. I really want to see what it does at the track today. Now, Beech Bend has put down a brand new track surface. That's where we're headed, is Beech Bend in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's kind of my local track. I'm fortunate enough to have a quarter-mile track about an hour away from the house. So I understand not everybody can do that, but luckily I can. So we can put it on the dyno, see what kind of power it makes, get the tune dialed in, and then go to the track and see, exactly how that correlates to our track times. Now, Beech Bend put down a brand new track surface, as I was saying. They basically had machinery come in over the winter, and they ground up all of the existing concrete and asphalt, and they put brand new concrete and asphalt down. We've had a really wet winter, I think, in the month of February, and this includes obviously Kentucky too, because we're so close together. I'm in Middle Tennessee, as I think you guys already know. We had almost 15 inches of rain, I think, for the month of February, and the normal average is like 2.5 or 3 inches, so way more rain than we would normally get. So last weekend was supposed to be the season opener at Beech Bend, and they had some flood damage and could not get the track ready in time to have that season opener, so they canceled last weekend's activities. This weekend was supposed to be a test and tune yesterday, which would be Saturday. Bad weather came in again, and it poured down rain all day yesterday, so they canceled the test and tune. Today was supposed to be an NHRA race for points and prize money. Beech Bend decided, since it's a brand new track surface, no one's been down it before, they would delay that NHRA race, and they decided to push the test and tune to today, which is Sunday. So very unusual. We never had a test and tune on Sunday that I know of at Beech Bend. Normally they're on Saturday with their race program to follow on Sunday. So today we're pretty lucky. Supposed to get really nice weather. It's about 55 degrees. Humidity's, you know, it rained yesterday, so the humidity's probably a little bit up there. I'll check all the weather data later, get the DA and everything. But we should have a pretty good day with the sun at least being out. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is this is like I said, a brand new track surface. So it'll kind of depend on how they prep it and how good the traction is. I'm gonna have to be a little bit careful. I'll show you when we get up to the track, but my slicks that I've been using, I've been running a 28x10 Hoosier slick on the Weld 17x10 wheel. I ran those same tires on the, and I mean literally the same tires, not just the same Hoosier slick tire, I mean the exact tire that's in the trunk. I ran those on Orange Crush for years, and I've run them for I think 2 seasons on Go Man Go, so they are very worn. I know they've got 100 and something passes on them, so I'm hoping I can get one more day out of them because I didn't want to change tires and have that influence our times today. I wanted to be able to run the car in the exact configuration I ran it last season at least once, so that I would know the changes that I made, what difference they're actually going to make with the same tires, same everything. The only thing different is the injectors, the Hellraiser 272 pulley, and Mike's tuning. So once we make some passes today, those tires will get replaced. I've already ordered a set of Mickey Thompson ET Street R drag radials, and results have been reported very, very good with those tires. I've never used them, but everybody says they work great, so I'm going to try them on this car. And the side benefit for me is I want to run in some street classes, and with that being a drag radial, it's street legal, DOT approved, and so it's legal to run in those street classes. I showed up to a couple of events. They wouldn't let me run the slicks. I ended up running the Nitto 555Rs on that 20-inch factory reproductions wheel, and they did okay. I could get 1.660 foots or 1.760 foots, but I'm really looking for something in the low 1.5s or better. Potholes everywhere. So that's the plan. One more run on the slicks, one more track day on the slicks, and then we're going to switch over to those Mickey Thompsons, and then switch over to a race tune, and then we'll go from there. So we got a couple of variables to deal with there, so wish us luck. And we got our crew chief Greg with us today. He has brought his car back to the track, and I'll link to this at the top. You might remember a while back he did some changes. He's got the Arrington stroker motor. It was a 5.7. They stroked it to a 6.4 and forged it. He's got a Vortex supercharger making 12-ish pounds of boost, and he put a big cam in it, or I shouldn't say big, he put a cam in it. It's a decent sized cam, and we took it to the track, did some track testing. Again, that's linked to the top. Things didn't go as planned. He found a little something, made a correction, and now's the first time we're actually taking his car back to the track to test it with all of his new cam and new stall, and we're hoping to get, you know, mid to low 10s out of his car today, so we'll see. So keep your fingers crossed with that too.
So bad. So bad. So bad. So bad. So bad. So bad. And guess what, baby? And guess what, baby? And guess what, baby? Yeah. And guess what, baby? Baby.
So as I said, the slicks are pretty well worn out. You can see them there, so we're going to hope for the best today on traction. They've usually done pretty good, but they've seen better days. Every time I come to the track, I always forget to weigh the car, and I haven't ever really gotten a race weight measurement on it, so we're going to run down here and see if they got the scales open. They have them so that when you come off the quarter mile, you can just pull around and weigh the car, but I always forget. I'm always excited after making a pass, so I just remembered I'm just going to drive down here real quick and check it out and see how much it weighs. Okay, race weight with me in the car looks like 43.85. I thought it would be lighter than that. Okay, so it was 43.85 in race trim. So these are heavy cars. So the fact that they run low 10s and high 9s and all of that with just a couple of modifications is pretty impressive. But I actually expected it to weigh a little bit less than that. I'm about 180 pounds. So the 43.85 was with me in it. So call it what, 41 and change? Somewhere around in there. So still a pretty heavy car. I was hoping to get it right around the 4,000 pound mark. Oh well. All right, here we go. Our first pass. make sure we get a good data log. Brand new track surface, like I said, so we'll see what happens. It looks pretty good. We've gone out and checked it, so things look okay. Thank you. Okay, that was 93 octane, a 163 60 foot. Actually, I red lit. I said I won, but actually I red lit by 0.05. Wow. 163 60 foot, 1033 at 133 miles an hour. There's how we did. That's 93 octane on the Hellraiser. Got a little bit more in it, I think. A little bit more for sure. Got a pretty serious race car, I think. See what happened. Beautiful day today, man. We needed this after all the crappy weather we've had. Thank you. Woo! 10-1. That's a 10-1. 93 octane tune. That's getting it done right there. We're so close to 9s on 93 octane. The DA is probably around 500. Not bad. 10-1 at 134 miles an hour. We had a 151 60 foot that time. Had a .003 reaction time, so that's good for me. I thought these slicks had enough, but 151 honestly isn't that bad. Actually did pretty good. Had a problem. Something going on at the end of the track down there. So now we wait. Good job, Chad. Good job, baby. I spun a little bit on the line. I didn't have enough for him. Good job, Chad. That was awesome. Woo! Looks like I owe him a beer at dinner. Thank you. Dang. He had a .001 reaction time. .001, and that's in a 6-speed car. He ran a 10.3 and I ran a 10.2, so I beat him on ET, but because his reaction time was so much better, mine was a .14, he turned on the wind light. And that's really good in a 6-speed car. That's hard to do. I like that one. That thing looks mean. Yeah, look at that. It ended up being a pretty crowded day today. So a pretty successful day at the track. We were here to test and fine-tune our 93 Octane tune-up. We got that done, ran a 10.1 at about 135 miles an hour, I think it was, 134, 135. Had a 1.560 foot on that pass. So very, very happy with the 93 Octane tune setup. We're probably gonna do a little more tweaking to it. Maybe. I'm gonna get good tires. I think the slicks are shot like you saw. So we're gonna get the Mickey Thompson ET Street R's mounted up and come back and probably do a little more playing around on 93 Octane and then start dabbling with the race gas setup. So Greg did good. His car ran a 1055 as you saw. So his car is back to 100% or 110%. He ran that 1055. I think he ran 128 miles an hour. That was on 93 Octane as well. We were both here to work on our 93 Octane tunes. And then at the end there, I raced Chad in his 6-speed Hellcat. He's got a few modifications done to it, a little bit more boost, a good clutch, and he's a good driver. He got me at reaction time. It was a .001, which is awesome in a 6-speed car. When you're pulling up, you're having to stay on the clutch and load the drive line and not break the beam and get the RPM for the launch right. So for him to get a .001 reaction time is phenomenal. I ran a 10.2, he ran a 10.3, but he got me on the tree. That's all that matters, who gets to the end first. We're gonna head over to Smoky Bones. I owe Chad a beer. We bet a beer on the race, so got to buy him a cold one. We're gonna have a little bit of dinner, make the drive back to Middle Tennessee. Back at Smoky Bones. That's headquarters when we're in Bowling Green. All right, here we are at Smoky Bones getting our normal meal out to the track. We got Chad, Richie, Greg. We all ran fast today, rewarding ourselves with some good food. So in the spirit of demonology, we'll have some dinner. Well, it must have been good. We all tore that up.
Yes, we did. Very good. Stellar.